family, do you see what I'm seeing? China is making a move that could one day affect you and shake the very foundations of global trade. And let me tell you, Donald Trump will not like this one bit. Because if you've been paying attention, you would know this isn't just about currency. This story I'm about to tell you, this is about power, independence, and who gets to call the shots in the 21st century. So here's what's happening recently. China is working so hard to increase the global use of its currency, the yuan, and they've chosen Africa as the key testing ground for that. So just recently in Cairo, Egypt, the central banks of China and Egypt signed a series of agreements to promote using the Chinese yuan in trade and investment. They are even exploring a currency swap, meaning Egyptian pounds and Chinese yuan could be exchanged directly without touching the US dollar at all. And family, listen, that's not all. They're talking about panda bonds, bonds that are issued in yuan, the Chinese yuan, that can be sold in Chinese markets, plus new cooperation in electronic payments, expanding union pay services, and setting up systems so cross-border business in yuan can be handled through China's CIPS network. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what's CIPS? CIPS is basically China's answer to SWIFT, the Western-controlled payment system that the US and the EU have the power to sanction or cut you off from. We saw what happened when Russia's reserves were frozen after the Ukraine invasion, right? This is why some countries are saying we need an alternative. We cannot be at the mercy of the US and Europe. We need to break free. Now, let me ask you, do you think that it is wise for African countries to actually start reducing our dependence on the US dollar? Are you sure we're not going to face repercussions like Trump's sanctions? Or do you think it could put us in a new kind of trap with China? I really want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about this comment? So we're trying to break ties with the US dollar. We're getting in bed with China. What do you think? Egypt isn't alone here, right? Nigeria, South Africa, Angola, they already have the yen-based deals. Nigeria even renewed its currency swap agreement with China in December, 15 billion Chinese yuan worth, which is about 2 billion US dollars. South Africa signed a similar deal back in 2015 for 30 billion Chinese yuan. And just recently, Standard Bank, the largest bank in Africa, joined CIPS. So African and Chinese banks can make direct yen payments without the dollar in between. Question is, why is this happening now? Because China now accounts for 20% of Africa's total trade. That's up from just 5% 20 years ago. Our goods are moving, our trade is growing, but financial flows still stuck with high costs and slow systems, mostly because everything's being routed through Western controlled channels. So you see why a lot of African countries might want this deal with China. Now let's pause and look at the big picture. For centuries, Africa has been trapped in systems designed by others. You see, from colonial trade routes to global banking order. Even today, much of our trade has to be cleared through currencies and institutions that are not ours. And they're not controlled by countries that have our best interests at heart. So when we see moves like this, African countries and China creating alternatives, it's a sign that the monopoly seems to be cracking. But here's the catch. Just because we're moving away from the US dollar doesn't automatically mean that we're moving into freedom, right? We have to ask, who are we tying ourselves to? Are we building our own leverage, or are we simply just shifting from one dependency to another? What do you think? Just think about it. Is China a genuine partner, or are they just playing a longer game to become the next global power holding Africa in check? Let's talk about this below. Let me get your take in the comment section. Economists are calling this a safe testing ground for the yuan's internationalization. Why? Because our trade volumes with China are big enough to matter regionally, but small enough that if things go wrong, it won't shake the global economy too much. And here's the strategic part. By getting African countries comfortable with the yuan, China builds a network of partners ready to transact outside the dollar system when the moment is right. Think about it. The US has used the dollar not just as a currency, but also as a tool of power. Sanctions, trade restrictions, even the ability to block transactions. These are levers of control. China is creating its own levers. But should we be worried? Should we be suspicious? Should we be on guard? For us as Africans, the lesson is this: we must always negotiate from a place of strength. Whether it's with the US, it's with China, it's with Europe, or anyone else, we must always come correct from a place of strength. We can't keep showing up to the global table as divided, dependent economies. It just won't work. If we work together as the African Union, as regional blocs, as one voice, we could use this moment to demand fairer trade terms, better technology transfers, and more control over our own resources, our own way of doing things, our own rules that benefit our people. Because the real victory is not whether we're trading in dollars or in Chinese yuan. The real victory is when we're trading in our own African currencies and calling our own shots. That's the goal. That's true liberation. So, yes, this move will ruffle feathers in Washington. Might even speed up the currency competition between China and the US. But for Africa, this is a wake up call. We have options now, and options mean leverage. Think about it. The real question is, will we use this leverage to actually build African independence? Or will we simply choose a new master? It's a very critical question to ask. What are your thoughts about this? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I want to hear from you. My name is Ify Igwe, reporting from Nigeria. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It's the African Diaspora News Channel. See you on the next story.